Well, for a closer look at Russia, let's bring in now Huiyao Wang, who is the founder and the president of the Center for China and Globalization. And he's on the line to our program right now. Henry, thank you very much for joining us. First up, what is your impression of that ceasefire deal between Russia and Ukraine? Because I've got to tell you, it came as a surprise in this newsroom.
Well, I think that it's the Christmas time. It's the time to make a peace, and also that the relation has been intense for the last for the last over the year actually, and also actually the NATO expansion is what has been always a problem for decades. So I think that it's already come to the point. I think there's a lot of dialogue, a lot of pressure from both sides, and then also I think it's also Ukraine has to really weigh this. Do we really need to have this kind of unnecessary conflict?
Yeah.
I think that this if this can be really achieved, that would be a great news. I mean,
yes.
I personally felt that if that is the case, that would be really great. But really, it's really Ukraine probably is playing as acting in between, but really problem challenges the Russian relation with U.S. and Western countries. That's probably we have to solve that in the long run, and then so that we don't have this kind of tense relations as we reflect in the Ukraine-Russian relations.
Yeah. Do you think it had anything to do with the virtual meeting between Putin and President Biden, and of course with President Xi a couple of weeks ago? Do you think heads were banged together, as it were, in those two sessions?
Well, certainly, I think they talk about those, issues. I mean, Putin has actually give a lot of praise to China, and also, strengthening the relation with China. But also, he's talking to Biden. I mean, just recently had this virtual meeting as well. So I think that giving all the rhetoric, we really have to find time to calm both sides down, because after all, I think the Western countries needs to accept the countries like Russian, China, and others. For example, I mean, many years ago, Jim O'Neill, the creator of a BRICS summit concept, he was saying basically G7 should maybe German, France, and also the Italy should be just coming as EU, and then we should expand the G7 to Russia, China, and India, so we can have a more acceptance of those countries. And actually, I agree with also, Richard Haas of Council of Foreign Relations. He was basically proposed too long about G6, talking about, US, EU, China, Russia, India, and Japan, which is, I think, those good ideas. Now, we need to really work together with pandemic, with arms race, with all those potential conflicts.
Right. Well,
those people in the one table rather than, really having conflict.
I'm glad you mentioned the pandemic. How did that affect the tone of the news conference that Mr. Putin gave this year? Because normally it's very, very long, isn't it?
Yeah, this year he has almost 4 hours, but basically I think the number of reporters there was greatly reduced. I mean, compared with pre-pandemic. But I think the message is there. He's confident. He still thinks that Russia is going to have around 4% growth. He's thinking that there's a lot of things to energy, economic cooperation with the rest of the world, and he really hopes that his backyard, Ukraine, can be really making into peace. I think both sides has to constrain. I really hope that there's no conflict or intensified relations. We really, in the world about pandemic, we don't need geopolitical risk on top of that.
And Henry, can I just drag you back to Moscow-Beijing relations now? What is the state of relations between those two capitals? When they had that virtual meeting a couple of weeks ago, both men came out and said the relations have never been better. Now, sometimes you say that at the end of a meeting like that. Do you think that's true? And what is the next phase?
Well, I certainly think it is true, because it was. I mean, if you want to, really look deep into that, that was really forced by the outside forces. I mean, U.S. is so hostile to China. I mean, also to Russia, and there's no, I mean, people have to really work together. No single country can fight a pandemic or other economic cooperation. We need to really make a good cooperation. So I think many of the things that was driven by U.S. and Western countries. So I think China can maintain good relation with Russian and the U.S. and EU countries. I mean, as we did in the past. But somehow now with this tense
Okay.
relation, and China become a scapegoat, and then it was pushed to other side. I mean, Russia was also being bashed as well. So
All
you
right.
see, both China and Russia are really have to really confront this kind of very hostile attitudes. I mean, they have to work together, I think.